It is 9:06. It is May 11th, 2026. It is a Monday, and if it's the 9 o'clock hour on a Monday at the point, that means it is time for Colatown, Our City, Our Stories, and I welcome you on into another edition. So glad to have you with us. Really appreciate you being part of our family here and part of our city. In the studio with me today, I want to say good morning and welcome. We have Leigh DeForth with us from the Planning Department for the City of Columbia. Good morning, Miss Leigh.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I hope you had a wonderful weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. A lot of people busy and did their thing and had pretty good weather, and so it's good. You know, and a lot of Mother's Day activities going on and Soda City going on, all kinds of good stuff happening, and so we had a lot of fun over the weekend. Want everybody to get excited, though, because this is the Monday edition. On Mondays around here for the 9 o'clock hour, we talk about all kinds of different things all around the city of Columbia and how they're impacting us. And one of the things that I have found as a trend here in the first 4.5 months of hosting this show, Leigh, is I learn something every single week from our guests. I really do. I thought I knew a lot about what was going on in the city, and I try to pay attention. It's my job to do that as a radio host. But I learned so much from you guys as our guests, so I really am glad you came in and you're here to share with us. So you're with the Planning Department, and what is the Planning Department, and what is your title, and what is your role within the city?
Sure. So Planning and Development Services has a number of divisions. I work in the Planning Division, and what our division does is we do long-term planning or comprehensive planning. That's what I do. We have urban design and historic preservation, and then our multimodal planning. And you spoke with Nicole Broner about bike ped counts a while ago.
Right.
And that transportation piece is a part of what we do as well. And then we also have a land development division that works on kind of our landscaping and tree ordinance, and also like subdivision or development of bigger projects of land. We have zoning, which looks at uses and things like setbacks and height. And then we have our building. There's a lot of moving parts, aren't there? And we have building permits and inspections. Yeah. So we're actually making sure that our department staff is making sure that when you're building things, they're safe and they're going to meet code. You're not going to have a house fire because your electrical is bad, or your plumbing's not going to back up. Those sorts of things. So you
got a lot of folks that make sure I's are getting dotted and T's are getting crossed when it comes to people's safety, and when it comes to obviously making sure that folks are doing things the way the code is and things like that. And obviously, it's we talked a little bit about wanting to keep our roads safe and provide safety for people, and just a lot of things. Okay, this could be, I could be completely wrong when I say this, but I think what I'm hearing is a lot of this is you don't want to be seen or heard. You just want to be in the background making sure everything is good for the people.
Well, what you said about working with a radio show,
right.
We do the same, right? As planners, we really work to build our plans on public engagement and looking for what the community wants. So we're doing a lot of listening as well and learning a lot from folks.
Sure.
And so when we look at our long-term planning processes, what we're really looking to combine is what we're hearing from folks, where their concerns are, what their vision for the city is, with kind of those best practices in the planning world.
Right.
So,
and Leigh, who better to hear from than the actual people who are walking the walk every day? We're going to get into a big community meeting that's going to be taking place tomorrow. Yeah. Talk a little bit about an event that people can be involved with, and we'll talk about that as we go along. So, in your role specifically, now, what are you doing specifically within the whole planning and development?
Sure. So I do our longer term planning. So I work on our comprehensive plan, Columbia Compass, work with a lot of our longer term focuses. So really those community engagement pieces. How do we help folks understand and engage with planning? How do we help folks kind of define a vision for their community? So we also have a number of area plans in the city as well for smaller areas. So like Rosewood near here has an area plan that they adopted back in 2012, or the Mill District has one that we worked on with Richland County because part of that's outside of the city limits.
Right. Fascinating, though. I mean, there's a lot of short-term and long-term planning that has to go in, and sometimes they kind of blend over one another. And I also think it's interesting how you mentioned that, you've got to work with the county on different things. You've got to work I mean, we've talked about how when it comes to our streets, we got to work with DOT. A lot of them, I mean, we don't control 70% of the streets in the city of Columbia. They're all state DOT streets. So there's got to be a lot of cooperation within different agencies and different offices, and even city to county to state. So I think there's got to be a lot of cooperation. Again, ton of moving parts for you. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been with the city?
I've been with the city since 2015, and I've been a planner since 2005.
Really? And where are you from originally?
Northern Virginia, right outside
Northern
DC.
Virginia. Well, good. So this is home now.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here, and I love getting the backstory on people and things like that. Some people go to school here and then they stay here, things like that. But jobs bring them here for whatever reason. Family, other members, bring them here, and for whatever it is, I have found that in my industry, radio and media, you're supposed to go to a market and then stay for like 2 or 3 years, then go to a next market. And I got to Columbia, and I absolutely fell in love with this community. And then I fell in love with a Columbia young lady, and I will never leave here. I love it here. So I find myself playing the role of ambassador for Columbia. I've got other people that I'm talking to all over the country, like, no, you should move here. You should move here. And I've got some people telling me, like, we got enough people moving here. Right? I'm like, no. This is the great place to raise your family. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about a project that's going on right now that the team has developed that you guys work with called Sharing the Road. What is that?
Yeah, so Sharing the Road is what we're calling our comprehensive safety action plan for roadway safety. And so we're going through this public planning process that's federally funded. So in the last 5-year funding cycle, the federal government set forward grants to improve roadway safety. We have, problems nationwide, and the city felt it was important to take this on. And so this is a plan that will help kind of build on our prior planning efforts, but help us prioritize kind of those improvements to policies, programs, and projects that would have the greatest impact on those roadways that have the highest number of crashes that result in serious injuries and fatalities.
Right. So obviously we keep stats and we track what's going on with some of our more dangerous intersections and things like that. And then we look at those, and if I misspeak, just jump in. But we look at those intersections and we think, okay, what might be the cause of some of these problems? What can we do better? Is it how long a light is? Is it how long? I mean, you guys look at cause and effect of what is potentially causing these problems and what we can do to remedy some of those.
Yeah, and so actually a lot of our crashes are probably, I don't know that they're all going to be at your intersections, for example. So we have a lot of roadways that one of the things we talk about, and we can talk about Millwood, I can talk about Millwood for hours because I have counted it many years.
Yeah.
But when we think about how wide our roadways are, how wide the lanes are, there's a lot of focus on throughput, but the slower we travel, the more friction we have on the side of the roadways, whether it's our narrower lanes or that you see trees and sidewalks and you expect other people to be there, that helps slow vehicles, and that's where our roadway safety improves, right? Yeah. Because the higher speeds you're traveling, the more dangerous it is for all roadway users. And we're not just talking about cars. We're talking about bikes, pedestrians, transit riders.
Absolutely. It's pretty fascinating. Leigh is with us from the planning department for the city of Columbia, and we're going to focus on something we're talking about, sharing the road, getting input from the people. And we're going to talk a little bit about that after the break, how people can get more involved, and you're going to give people a direct opportunity to do so. Stick around. Colatown continuing, our second segment right around the corner. Welcome back in. This is Colatown. So happy you are with us. Our city, our stories, as we like to say around here. And we've got Miss Leigh with us from the planning department for the city of Columbia, from planning and development. And thank you for being here, Leigh. I'm really glad you are with us. And I've learned already a little bit about how we gather some of the data. But really, the best source might just be the people.
Absolutely. So local knowledge is critical, whether it's roadway safety or other planning efforts we're talking about, because you understand what works or what you've talked about before. You've got a length of history, but also you understand what will speak to your neighbors and your friends and your community.
So a couple things we're going to focus on here in this second segment with you. One is reminding folks about these open houses that we're going to have, and then you've got something for us that I know that you wanted to share also that will add to the discussion with the survey and all. So take me through a little bit about what we're doing here tomorrow, because you've got some drop-in events.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be at the Virginia Bedford Community Center at Earlwood Park, right there off of North Main. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be hosting folks from 11 to 1 and from 4 to 6. So you can come at lunchtime, you can come after work or as you depart work. And it's really an opportunity to chat with the project team. So I'll be there along with some of my colleagues and our consultant team from Kimley Horn. And we will be talking about our high injury network. So looking at those roadways that we've identified where the majority of our crashes take place that result in serious injuries and fatalities. We'll be looking at kind of conceptual design of 5 intersections and 5 roadway segments. Now, those aren't funded projects, but what we hope is that through this process and through this planning process that is federally funded, we can kind of identify those things that we'd like to move forward with. And we selected those locations because in addition to being part of our high injury network, they were also areas that were not being addressed by ongoing planning efforts like the road safety assessment that SCDOT is doing on Millwood and Assembly.
Right.
Those were already covered. So what can we add to the conversation there?
Yeah, and again, this is an opportunity for people to give their own input about areas, and again, there's no better personal experience. I mean, for people that know, every time I cross this intersection or every time I go through this, I feel like I'm taking my life into my own hands.
Absolutely.
And that kind of stuff. And I know you've heard every imaginable story from different corridors and different parts. And I think it's important you note it, because I kind of misspoke when I was just talking about intersections. That's true. There are certain intersections that are magnets for problems, but there's also just segments that statistically you've been able to recognize for one reason or another, these areas. I mean, right over here on Millwood, it's not necessarily Millwood and Gervais right here where our radio station's located. You go down about a half mile, and I mean, there's been tons of people that have got hit by cars and things like that. And so you guys have tried to address that with crosswalks and things like that. But again, I wish we had less statistics and more just input, because we don't want people getting hurt and having to take our data from injuries or even worse.
Right, absolutely. And so that's why we're talking about specific locations, but we're also asking folks to weigh in on what we're calling systemic countermeasures. So things we can do when we're touching a road, when DOT is touching a road, when Richland County is touching a road. Does it, depending on if it's a resurfacing, do we look at the lane widths? And like we were talking about earlier, if your lanes are 18 feet wide, that's really what you expect to see on an interstate. So when you're on a wide lane, you drive faster. But when you're on a narrower lane, you slow down, that sort of thing.
Right. I hear what you're saying. So as a result of that, when it comes to this event and the opportunity, you mentioned 2 different settings, or seatings, I should say, 11 to 1 and 4 to 6 at Virginia Bedford. People will take me through, hi, I'm coming, I'm showing up here. What do I expect?
Yeah, so it's a drop-in meeting, so you can come in anytime during those windows, and we will be there to kind of talk you through the boards. You can talk to us about one specific location if you'd like. You can talk to us about one specific mode of travel. Maybe you're a avid walker and you're really concerned about, like I think you've mentioned in prior shows, how long it takes to cross a roadway on a crosswalk.
Right.
So maybe you have one thing that's very important to you. And then we'll also have a survey that's available. So it's you can either take it after the meeting or in lieu of the meeting if you're unable to attend.
Right. Yeah. And again, I hear from a lot of folks, especially with our radio station not being that far from 5 Points. I hear from a lot of students when it comes to their crossing and getting across safely, with Hardin Street and different parts over there, bicyclists and what they need. I mean, so people know this, but we often need to be reminded. It's not just the cars. There are pedestrians who are skateboarders, they're scooters, whatever. I mean, but the fact of the matter is, you got to keep your eyes open these days. There's just a lot of. I mean, I saw 3 people on Segways the other day, and hoverboards. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's incredible how many different modes that we're keeping track of these days. So that's the important thing. And then you guys are also working on a survey.
Yeah, so the survey will be out. We're going to be posting it on the project website, and you can find all that information just by going to the main city website, columbia.sc.gov. We've got a really great banner up there that'll take you to Sharing the Road, and it will help you engage. The survey will be open on the 12th, so it's not open yet, but we'll have that open through June 9th.
It's tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's the 12th.
Yeah.
So can you give me an idea of what's in the survey, though?
So a little bit of the same that we'll be doing at the public meeting. Certainly, if you can come to the open houses, we'd love to have you, because again, we learn so much through a conversation versus just kind of like we can ask following questions, that sort of thing.
Right.
But you'll be able to weigh in on kind of the conceptual designs for some of the intersections and segments that you talked about. You can talk. We'll have some questions about policies that you'd like to see and how you would rank them. That sort of thing.
And again, I can tell you that when we have the mayor in the studio with us, and he comes in the third Monday of every month, so he'll be in next Monday with us. It's interesting because he'll open up the phones and we'll take calls, and it's exactly what you and I are talking about, Leigh, right now. A lot of what we talk about is people calling up and saying, "Are you aware of this problem at this intersection?" Or and it's almost like made to order for what you guys are trying to do with this. So if you're same person that might be thinking about calling the mayor next time he's on, then you really want to make some time to go to Virginia Bedford Community Center tomorrow, either between 11 and 1 or 4 to 6 when it's convenient. And if that doesn't work and you just can't make it, then we encourage you to get at least that survey on the website. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to kind of go through is, are you comfortable discussing some of the intersections that you've already labeled that are trouble areas? I mean, are there certain areas that we want people to just, hey, when you're getting to this area, turn it up a notch on the careful meter?
Yeah, I mean, so I think in general where we're seeing a lot of those serious injuries and fatalities are going to be our higher speed areas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think what's probably important to drive home is talking about those different modes, really. So it's maybe not as much areas as thinking about, well, what makes us a vibrant city is that we can slow down. We can walk places. That helps us put eyes on businesses, that sort of thing.
Right.
But for the crashes, so our consultant team looked at crashes between 2019 and 2023, and although there were over 34,000 crashes in the city, and we say crashes, not accidents, because accidents assumes that there's a problem, right, with the crash. So with those crashes, 43% of the crashes that resulted in a fatality or serious injury, the folks that were injured or killed were pedestrians and bicyclists.
Wow.
But they're only 1.5% of in all of the crashes. So only 1.5 of the 34, or 1.5% of the 34,000 and change crashes involve pedestrians and bicyclists. But they're the ones that are injured. So thinking about slowing down, thinking about how we want to make sure that we're protecting our most vulnerable users is really critical.
Well, yeah. And again, this is not meant to sound like we're lecturing anyone, but Leigh, this is common sense. Whose chances do you like if it's vehicle versus pedestrian? I mean, obviously, the person on the bike or the person just walking has a lot less chance of survival or not being, I mean, they're going to get hurt more than the average person driving the vehicle.
Absolutely.
So just got to be very careful about, know what's going on and pay attention to all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I like that you guys are really doing is one goal that I know the city has is making this city much more connectable and connectivity, so that people can, if they want to move downtown, they don't have to worry about getting in a car and going everywhere. We want people to feel comfortable if they move to the Vista to be able to walk across and cross Assembly, and they go down Main or go down to 5 Points or go down to Vine or whatever it is, different parts of our city. We want people to feel safe being able to walk or bike.
Yeah, so we in 2015 we adopted the Walk Bike, or Council adopted the Walk Bike Columbia Master Plan, and so that really talks about that connectivity and building that spine of connectivity. And what's different about this project is it's able, the planning process builds on that, but really with that specific eye to roadway safety. So we're really talking about where do we prioritize those improvements or those programs and policies that we may take on that would have the biggest impact on reducing our roadway fatalities and serious injuries.
And again, what stands out to me if I'm listening and hearing you is the best way for you guys to decide an order of the projects is to hear from the people about where the projects are most needed.
Yes, I mean, I think, or really what types of projects
Right.
you would prioritize, because again, this doesn't necessarily come with funding that would
Right.
fund those projects, but really, we've identified through the high injury network, we've identified those roadways where doing those projects would make the
Sure.
biggest difference.
Only have a minute here, but how difficult or frustrating is it for the city when we talk about the fact that you have to do so much that involves the DOT? I don't mean that as a knock on them, just the fact that you can't just snap your fingers and say, we want to fix this. You can't just fix a lot of what's broken.
Well, I think the important thing to note is that with infrastructure, you generally can't snap your fingers. And DOT is a really great partner. They actually are part of the reason we've applied for this grant
Right.
that's funding this process.
Sure.
They've recommended that. But all infrastructure changes can be frustratingly slow, but it's important.
No doubt. And again, you being the diplomat here also, I appreciate that what you're saying about working with DOT. I know sometimes I could see Mayor Rickenman wanting to bang his head against the wall because he so badly wants to fix things for the constituents and for the people, the citizens. And he's just like, I don't have the jurisdiction to fix that, but I promise you we'll get in touch with the right people and let them know about it. Because, I mean, it's got to involve cooperation. It really, really does. Well, I'm so glad you came in. I really appreciate that you did that. Again, tomorrow, 11 to 1 and 4 to 6, Virginia Bedford Community Center. That's over at the Earlwood Park, and that's 1113 Recreation Drive.
Yep. And then we'll have the survey open through June 9th.
Thanks so much. I really, really appreciate you coming in, Leigh.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll come back with the second half. Colatown continues on The Point.